All right, thanks for staying with us now. Certain aspects of globalization have positive benefits, but when threats of a financial crisis, war, global recession, trade imbalances, etc., do occur, it often leads to the talk of moving money to safer investments and increasing government deficit. Now, this rising uncertainty can confuse even the well-informed investor. Anytime you put money at risk in an attempt to profit, there is an inherent level of uncertainty. When new threats such as war or recession arise, the level of uncertainty increases significantly as companies can no longer accurately predict their future earnings. Now, uncertainty is the inability to forecast future events. Now, people can predict the extent of a possible recession, when it's going to start and or end, how much it will cost, or what companies will be able to make it through that period. Now, most companies normally predict sales and production trends for the investment, rather for the investing public to follow, assuming normal market condition. But increasing uncertainty level can make these numbers significantly inaccurate. So today we want to have a bit of understanding, right, on how to approach investment. Uti say, maybe we first chop belly food first. But wait, hold on. How to approach investment in an uncertain economy now, right? That's the question. Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also tweet at us at PlusTvAfrica1 with the hashtag Wayshow. So let me quickly go on to Noma first. Then I'll come back to Uti. Because Uti has a question for our guest. Noma Efanga, what are you investing in right now?
Wow. So I tried various investments. I tried in cryptocurrency, a bit of that, and then I did agriculture as well. But with the situation in the country, you can't even see the dividends of your investments, and it's pretty frightening though, because if things continue in this trajectory, I don't know how viable investments will be within the Nigerian space, right? And then now you're beginning to look at options outside the country. You're beginning to think of global investments, but the capacity to, the Naira devaluation is even making it impossible for you to have as much capacity, foreign exchange capacity to make investments. So it's really a very dicey situation that people, including myself, we've found ourselves. And I'm looking forward to the conversation to know how we can move from this doom and gloom to possibilities.
All right, Uti, you have question for guests. Oh yeah, hold on, let me bring our guest. Renah.
Okay.
Renah is the Chief Operating Officer at Zimvest, a digital wealth management firm and a subsidiary of Zcrest. Now, she is a certified investment and wealth management professional with over 14 years experience in business development, strategy, product management, and solutions development. She has a BSc microbiology and is an alumnus of the Lagos Business School. She is currently pursuing an EMBA degree at the Quantic School of Business and Technology and was recently selected as a mentee of the Women in Tech Global Mentoring Program. And she's joined us live in studio, looking all peng. Hello! Hi. So Uti is waiting for you. She has been waiting for you. Because Uti wants to make money. We cannot afford not to make money in all this uncertainty. Because I know that uncertainty actually gives opportunities to make money. So let me give her the opportunity. Auntie.
See the way you said that exactly now. Uncertainty is so well and good. Investing is so well and good. I like the way Noma so eloquently put it. The capacity is when you're hungry, when you can't even survive today. where does investment fit in today's Nigeria, where we are talking about the cost of bread? It's just a light-hearted way to say it, but the truth is, so many people are struggling to survive the day. The little money you have when Norma was talking, she talked about some of the most popular or most common investments in Nigeria today. And there's no investment that doesn't carry an element of risk. So when I don't even have enough, why should I invest when I have to then contend with risk? At least if I leave it in my account, I may not make money. I may be getting poorer with inflation, but at least under your mattress, in the bank,
under the duvet,
it's safe. It's safe.
Let's see.
Ma.
Why do you come here now? You have finished everything now.
Yesterday they called me a doctor. Today what are they going to call me?
Investment professional.
I know it's difficult, like, and you sometimes I mean I have these conversations with people year in, year out, right? And I think the best way to look at it is how are you planning for your future self, right? And I know that you have to contend with, your daily bread and all of those things. But if you get say you're a paid employee, right, and you get your salary, your rent is going to come. This year, what's it called? Setback.
Our setback
will come for it. Or urgent 2K will come. Do you understand? You're everything is calling for your money, but are you paying yourself, right? So there was one book my mom made me read, Richest Man in Babylon. I think some people have read it, right? And he talked about paying yourself, because you're paying everybody. You're paying your landlord. You're paying for your car, your fuel, all those things. But you need to pay yourself. That's one. But then two, there are also safe investments. You see, safer investments than that. Everything has an element of risk. But the question is, how risk averse are you? What is your risk appetite? And what kind of investments will fit your risk appetite, amongst other things, right? So the first thing is save money for your future self. Put that money aside and ensure that money is working for you. Because as you're waking up every morning, you're hustling. Your money too should be hustling for you. At least sweat that free cash flow, pending when you need to use it. The thing is, don't keep money idle. And so you might not find a lot of things that can help you like outperform or hit where inflation rate is at, to be honest, right? And there I mean, I'm sure there's some investments, but they're more long term. Even equities can help you get there, but it will be long term. We're talking 3, 5, 7 years. But at every point in time, how much are you pushing towards covering or closing that gap? I think that's one way to look at it, right? And then what's the word now? Just that investment culture, right, will help you budgeting, putting money aside, will help you even like, it's almost like when you focus on something, then more opportunities open up. If you have built up funds for one type of investment, then some other investments become accessible to you simply because you now had that, bulk sum or something like that, right? So that would be how I answer that.
So I was going to let me also add the question to what Uti has mentioned, because she said something very, very, very important. So some people are not actually like careless with their money. They have money, they're earning a salary, they're paying themselves from that salary, like in saving money and all of that. But we are in an economy currently that, somebody told us the other day, okay, you were not with us at Norma's house when we were having her birthday, when we went for her birthday. Somebody was saying that he bought dollar today at maybe let's say 6:30, right? So something happened, he had to change his mind. So he sold his dollar rather at 6:30. Something happened, he needed to change his mind. He said, no, let me just take my dollar back. He called the same Aboki that he sold his dollar to. Aboki told him that even at 6:50, this was like few hours down the line. At 6:50, that Oga is not even this, that tomorrow morning, he didn't get it till the next day in the evening. So he ended up losing about maybe 25 or 30 naira. This is just within
a couple of hours. Yes.
Right? So even when some people are saying, okay, you know what, I'm not investing and all of that, is it smart to keep your money in a savings at this time where everything is just going?
I'm careful to say savings.
Savings versus
investing.
No, they talk now.
No, savings that you are gathering the money.
Now they talk because some people will say no, they don't want to go and invest in some because they are risk averse, yes. Right? So they just want to be seeing their money that, okay, I'm keeping it somewhere, one fixed deposit and all of that. Is that a safe way to save?
No, it's safe. It's not that it's not safe. But the question, that's the point I made. I said you're waking up every morning, you're betting, you're going to work, you're going to hustle. Then the money you have made should go and hustle too. And that's what you should be doing. Make sure that you're sweating that asset. If you gather the money, it's good to have a savings culture, but you're going to get poorer, like you said, right? Because you have inflation that on a daily basis reduces your purchasing power. The thing that you could buy last, in fact, bread. I went to Grand Square yesterday and I bought bread for 900 naira and it paid me so.
Your own is still cheap.
900.
My bread is 1,100.
It paid my soul because I was like, this bread that I bought 450, and I wasn't the one. My sister was always going to buy it, but I happened to go buy it. I was like 900 naira. That's 100% from 2020. Do you see? And so it is important that you're investing your money. In fact, it can't get to inflation, but at least be closing the gap small. Now some people are. I understand the fears, right? So you also need to say, where are you investing your money? Are they SEC regulated? Are they regulated institutions? Because it's the same. Look at it's the same us that are saying that we want to put it under our pillow. We don't want anybody to touch it. But tomorrow, come and tell you, hey, sharp. Just bring 3 people. Let's add money. You get money next week. Everything plus your interest, plus your principal. Everything disappears.
My friend, till tomorrow 8 million naira.
Okay, now.
So let me just.
I beg.
There was just a word that or phrase that she mentioned now, which even I don't fully understand it. I understand it something similar in the context of banking. You said it's SEC regulated. What does that offer in terms of protection?
So you have Securities and Exchange Commission that regulates all investment managers, right? And so what they do. For one, they're saying what are you even giving your clients? In fact, we are so regulated that they even have to look at your adverts that you're putting out, so you're not putting out wrong information. Do you see? You're not just selling anything and people
because
you
want to
yes. So they take investor protection very seriously. But outside of that, you have the custodian. So even the money you are giving me as a fund manager, it's not in my hand. You're paying it. A custodian is keeping that money on behalf of the clients, right? And so there's so many levels and layers to it
that protects your money.
Exactly. Then you have the trustees, especially for mutual funds. You have trustees that act on behalf of the clients. So even when I want to do certain things, I have to run it by the trustee. They have to concur, and then I'll send it to the regulator to approve before I can do it. Do you see? And so I don't even hold those monies. I'm the one investing. I'm the one taking the decision as a fund manager. But I'm not. The money is not even in my hand because it's protecting the client. It's ensuring that the money is not coming to Zimvest account. Do you understand? It's going to my custodian. Zimvest account with the custodian. Do you see? So certain, and then they look at when we have to do certain products. Right, they ensure that there's the right product fit for different people. Some people are not financial. In fact, financial literacy penetration is just 26%.
It's very poor.
Right? And so you have 70. What is the difference? 74% of Nigerians are not financially literate. So there's even some self-education that we need to do. There's lots of content, and there's more we need to do, honestly, in educating the public, right? And we're doing our bits, putting out blog posts on asset classes and, black tax and things that people can relate with, right? But people also need to take ownership of their lives as well, and just understand even the basics. But you must speak to, a wealth management professional, investment professional that can help you navigate, this terrain if you don't really understand it. So it's there.
Okay, let's quickly go on a very short break. It's getting interesting. I want to know how much I need to invest. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, if you just tuned in, we're discussing Naira and Kobo. How to approach investments in an uncertain economy. And we have Renah with us. Now, remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also tweet at us at PlusTvAfrica with the hashtag WayShow. Nama, I want to come to you. You said you were waiting for our guest. She's here. Nama, are you there?
Renah.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So, Renah, I wanted to ask, first of all, what are the opportunities to look out for in an economy like ours?
Okay.
Of course, we know how difficult it is to do business in Nigeria now. Energy shortage, we have infrastructure, lack of infrastructure. We have all sorts of things that are literally working against someone being able to make headway in the area of investments, including foreign exchange, devaluation in Naira and all of that. So I wanted to ask, first and foremost, what are the opportunities that one can begin to look out for? I don't know if you know any investments that people can begin to explore those kind of opportunities. That's one. And then two, what mindset is one supposed to be able to adopt towards investment in an economy like ours?
Right. Okay. So let me start with the mindset. Like I said, or at least my own personal principle, as with many fund managers, really is, are you make sure you're sweating your assets at every point in time, your investments, your free cash, even for business owners, right? I see a lot of people focus on their personal investments, but in their business funds, they say, oh no, we're just using our funds to buy products at the end of the month. But you can do something, it can be earning returns while you wait, you see. So it's at every point in time, you must take the mindset that your assets must be working for you at every point in time. That's one. In such an economy, right, or where we are today, there's too much going on. There's inflation, there's devaluation, there is election, all the shots.
All the shots.
I'm here, right? But good stable economies can give you opportunities, right? But also, certain conditions or environments can also
bring
present opportunities.
Yeah.
So an example would be the stock market, for instance, right? I know it's not. Some people are like, hey, please, the money that I lost one time like that, but it's also tracking fundamentally strong and stable stocks. Like, what is the company growth strategy? What are they into? What's their fit within the economy? What's corporate governance? Who is driving the business? Those sorts of things. In this kind of economy, you would find, especially in Nigeria, the trend will show that pre-election and even during elections, you will begin to see stock prices dip, right? And so those opportunities present themselves to buy, fundamentally stable stocks at cheaper prices, right? And if they, historically would pay dividends, it means you can get dividends, and then long term there's the, opportunity for capital appreciation. So this is the time, in fact, in an unstable economy, that's when you should, start to look at, not to just buy any stock, but to look at the fundamentals. And that's what, investment managers help you do. Look at the fundamentals of the stock and say, okay, this price
is a good
price
and a good time to buy.
Exactly. Or even for you, you can even begin to stagger, because even as the prices cost, some people say, at what point should I buy? Nobody can kind of call the market, but you can start to purchase, and then your average cost can even out over time. That's one. Now, because of the uncertainty, you have foreign portfolio investors that are staying out of the markets on the one hand, because pre-election they don't want to allow, and then but also central banks like the US Fed has increased the fixed income rates in their own economy. And so why should I invest in a developing economy with uncertainty when I can get higher rates in a stable economy? And so they are staying out. But what that brings to the opportunity it gives us is that the bond markets, both federal government bonds and euro bonds, so euro bonds are denominated in dollars, right? The prices begin to drop, and that takes the yields up. So this is an opportunity to invest in euro bonds that have very attractive yields today, right? And if they're euro bonds, then they are even in dollars, meaning that you can also what's the word now, hedge against further devaluation. So you should have allocation to dollars, to FX investments, definitely, right, to be able to hedge against devaluation as well.
I was listening to someone, I don't know which video I was watching, he was saying that many years ago, before you could count one Tesla, now out of 10 cars, you might actually find 5 Teslas driving if you count 10 cars, and Tesla shares is one of the shares that I know that a lot of people are buying. But you see, these shares, I have a very sour thing in my throat, because when I was in the university, that's why I gathered my money. Oh Lord, I gathered my money. I said, I want to invest in shares. Can't go buy shares till tomorrow. The bank, I don't know where it is. But hey, that's an aside. So I was going to ask you, right? Because some people, when they hear investment, they're thinking hundreds of millions. They're not thinking that, I even have
the kind of money.
I have the kind of money that investment managers are looking for. So help us understand. How much busy are we looking at?
I think that I would just add to that because when you say wealth management,
it's heavy.
It carries connotations of money.
Like billions.
Wealth.
But just to, add to that, a couple of months ago, was it a promo, a campaign that we ran in my organization where we were offering shares of the Googles, the foreign companies. We are going to dash people. That's when you realize the extent to which
I wanted to say that.
It's not your age range,
Sorry.
But we didn't even get free, and it's not Nigerian stock. So when we talk about how much to invest, I learned during that process that you can buy part of one share. If your money, when they say shares like $100 or something, you can cut it.
You can even buy $2 share from there.
So I just wanted to say that in answering that question, could you also speak to those options as well, those kind of opportunities?
Yes. Right. So maybe wealth management also gets people to think, I have to have plenty
wealth.
But you will speak it into existence. But
I speak my way into your phone.
But really, you can start anywhere. In fact, as Zimvest, we have a product called Wealth Box, which as little as 200 naira. 200 naira, you can start investing. So you're going to be earning interest up to I think 6 or 7%. Yes, per annum, right? On your money. So there's no excuse to keep your money idle. So you would see mutual funds give like 2,000 naira, 1,000 naira. But we're even thinking of people that have some daily, income and they just want to put some money aside. So with 200 naira, you can even start, keeping money aside and earning interest on that. But you have that from 200 naira to 5 billion to
whatever billion
you want, right? I think the more important thing is, like I said, what is your goal, right? And if we understand the basic investment vehicles, then it's now how much do I have and how can I allocate it into these different buckets that help me meet that goal? Because it's the same product. Both of us can even have the same money, the same amount, but we have different goals, and so it would inform what allocation, how much I'm allocating to each investment, bucket or vehicle, right? And then you have, I'd spoken about dollar investments, right? So you have even smaller investments. So Eurobonds today is giving, maybe you have to invest about 200,000. You have to have $200,000 to invest in a Eurobond.
Wow.
Right? But you have mutual funds that have broken down these things. It's like all of us are bringing the money together to invest in these assets. So it's like the small units,
you're taking a small bite from the big chunk.
Exactly. In the same vein, you have equities funds. You have some global equities funds, right, that you would invest in global equities. So maybe a basket of say Google, Tesla shares and whatnot, and everybody has a unit in that mutual fund. Or you can there's some investments companies today that will give you access to units or portions of a particular fractions of a particular stock. You see, so depending on how much there's no excuse today to not invest, to not even at least make the effort, take responsibility. And I know things are hard, so I'm not trying to gloss over the actual reality that we face. But
when you said somebody can go as low as 200 naira, I'm saying that we are done. The conversation is, it means you don't have an excuse. But you see now, again, I want to just add about where to invest, because I see a lot of people selling properties, saying that properties are the best to invest, properties are the best. Are they really the best to invest right now in this economy? Because sometimes I'm looking at it and I'm calculating it. It's not measuring up in my head. But let me hear your thoughts on real estate.
Well, I'm not an expert on real estate, but I do know that in times, again, there you have, in the same way you have mutual funds, you would have like what you call REITs. They are like mutual funds for a basket of assets or real estate properties that now provide like tiny units, right, where you can invest. You have people that say, well, let's join and buy these apartments and rent it out, do you understand, and earn the same income and whatnot. But in times of like pre-election or just during the election, people are doing campaigns and whatnot. You would find, historically speaking, or following the trend of elections, that people want to sell property to
be able to fund their campaigns. So that's the best time to buy because the prices crash. So they have distress sales.
Exactly. You will find those opportunities. I mean, they are big tickets, to be honest, right? But whether or not to invest in real estate is a matter of what personal preference, the kind of risk, because with the real estate you're locking in your money for a long time, right? And so you need to be able to stay the course. And that, even with all in your investments, you must have short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals, right? But what I see is a lot of people, focus on now, and I understand that, right? Yeah. But we need to plan for our future selves, right? And accordingly.
So I'd like to ask about that planning, because when I was a lot younger, I remember the first time I had this conversation. It was maybe like my third job, but they said, the longer you have to invest, or the longer you have to save for your retirement. In my 20s, I was like, what are you talking about? I like to spend my money now, please.
Yes.
But the person was trying to convince me that, by the time you get to your 40s, you have so much. It didn't make any sense then. And I suspect that a lot of young people fall into that basket as well, because so few kids. So when you talked about Richest Man in Babylon, my own experience was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So few people have limited knowledge around how I get into the game, why the benefits are there, why I should do it. In the short term, there's a lot more shiny things.
Yes.
But in Nigeria, we don't have that culture. When people grow old here, their children are their investment plans. So how do we start to change that mindset? Because when you first started speaking, you said two things for me that I've held on to. One is pay yourself. And then the fact that you must sweat your assets. So how do we start to get that? Two very simple concepts to get into people, because we've done personal finance to death, but it doesn't feel like, and this is the next layer on top of that.
Yes.
How do we start to get that out there?
It's a mix of many things, to be honest. There's the culture, right? So it's for parents, for instance, they need to take the responsibility to school their kids. So there's something, I was having a conversation with my colleague and we're talking about how the Jewish people do it. They have containers for different things, savings, investments, something and something, like four, like color that we do, right? And at a young age, they imbibe that culture of saving and investment and financial education. So obviously, we need to, start to, educate the next generation. There is like I said again, the part for personal responsibility to learn, curiosity, right? And again, there's lots of, like I said, we have a lot of content, but people have to, take the initiative to read them, to ask questions and whatnot. Fund managers or investment managers have the responsibility to educate, the investing public as well, right? And we're trying to do our own bits, and there's a lot of things we are doing at Zimvest also, outside of like the content creation, but how do we, ensure there's retention? We have some projects that we should be rolling out in a month or two. We're currently in beta state, where we can get people to then, retain that knowledge, reward them for retaining the knowledge and things like that, just so that, people are taking action. Because at the end of the day, I can speak all the English here. We finish this thing, like you said, and we'll go back, and if there's no application, we are back to square one. We're still where we are. Yeah.
You should make us part of that project that you're rolling out in a month's time.
No problem.
Someone says a good place to invest is government bonds.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
Why is that so?
Well, for many reasons. One, today, one of the reasons with what I said about, because bond prices are going down, means the yield is going up. Therefore, this is a good time to invest in bonds. But government bonds or bonds in general give you some stability in terms of cash flow. So if you lock in, say, a bond, say, at 12% today, right? It means that, let's say, I'm trying to not get technical, but let's say you have locked in at, say, 10%. It means that on a yearly basis for the next maybe 10 years, what it's coming to you for sure, because that cash flow is consistent. Usually, everyone has to have an allocation across board, like I said, but I found it to work really well for people that are nearing retirement or that have just retired, because I'm able to then plan their funds, their cash flow needs over time. So they know every 6 months, so I'm collecting 5% of this my money and so on, and it's maturing at some point. It gives you some level of stability. Yeah.
So this thing that you said now.
Okay, quickly. Let me come to know.
Investment managers, they don't sleep a lot, but they make plenty money. See this small thing that now. We've all watched Wall Street and all those movies, but the reality, this process that you just talked about as a fund manager, you've talked about the 200 naira savings and all of that, but I'm not quite 200 naira, but I'm not quite 5 billion. How much would it cost me to have somebody like you build that plan for me?
How much? maybe from like 1 million to 5 million, really, for customized investment. So when I say we have 200 naira investment, the underlying asset is still this.
Of course.
What we're just trying to do is commoditize it. So where all that money is going into bonds, is going into treasury bills, going into fixed deposits and so on, so that everyone can enjoy the benefits without having to have that investment outlay. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Norma Ifenga, you have a question?
Oh, I was just listening in rapt attention and taking notes. So I don't have any more questions apart from what people can readily do now. I know you have said so much, pay yourself, this and that, but there's some people who are at a point where they've lost investments, right? And they have the fears about going back into investment because of the risks and their loss. How can people like this come back to reinvesting, and what can they readily do now to not to fall victim of how do I say it? Is it false investment, or how
They
do
should
they,
contact me.
how do they wise
I'll
up?
give their
How do they
Renah's
wise
number.
up?
I'll take commission.
No, you can even reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Reach out to me on LinkedIn, Renah Osiemi, right? Because we offer free financial advice, right?
Okay.
Again, you have all these products, but if you don't know how to navigate, what should I do? When should I do it? We have a team of seasoned investment managers that can address some of these issues. Yes.
Norma, you have a question from Abi, a comment.
Awesome.
Right?
All right, so I have this comment, and it's from our regular Ways fan, Daniel Ilo. He says, "Good evening, my dear beautiful sisters of What Are You Saying? #Ways. How to approach investments in an uncertain economy. Sister Uti is always on point. She made mention that it is only those that eat well and live comfortably
I knew you were gonna
that
say
can
that.
invest. In a nutshell, you must have a goal and a plan before you can think of investing according to your guest. So you really don't have to wait to have millions before you can invest, and you can invest with a small capital and it will grow and expand." Thank you, Daniel.
Okay, quick one, because we're running out of time. These period where people want to go to school, short investments, right? Well, what would you say about those things? So if, for instance, I'm going to school in 2024, what kind of, how can you help, to help build, maybe I need, let's say $30,000 school fees and all of that. Are there investments that you can quickly make towards those kinds of specific goals?
Yes, we have a target savings product where you can set a goal for yourself and then say, okay, I want to achieve this by this time, and it will show you how much you need to contribute, on a monthly or weekly basis to hit that goal. And you can do it in dollars, so that you're not even keeping that money in naira, against and hedge against devaluation.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. You have final question?
No. I just want to build on that. Questions beget questions. So this saving in dollar no day to day. So can I give you naira?
So you give me
to
dollar.
Save in dollar. Important question.
Yes, very important.
So again, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Renah, why wrong?
No, I'm not running. No problem. No, but we have partnerships, right, that help us access certain currencies, right? And if you have those,
you just made my deal. So for us,
it's me out. It's me out.
But we have run out of time. I wanted to say, if you had one final word, we don't have final word for you people. If you need Renah, please go and call her on LinkedIn. Go and link her up there on the LinkedIn. Thank you so much, Renah. I think we had a fantastic conversation.
Thank you so much.
I hope you come back again, no?
I hope so.
As you're running at that 1 month plan, just drop Ways our paycheck. That's all. We'll be all right. Thank you, Norma. Thank you, Uti.
Thank you.
All right. So before we go, ensure you follow us on Instagram at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our engagements on social media, like, share, invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. Now, if you missed today's quote, here it is there again. No, it's not whether you are right or wrong that's important, but how much money you make when you are right and how much you lose when you are wrong. So it means you have to contact a wealth manager so that your chances of errors will be limited, and you must let your money
Work for you.
Hustle for you. Yeah, we'll see you guys live at 8 p.m. on Monday as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Ciao.